Okay, so we are live. Welcome to the Node.js package maintenance team meeting for November 23rd, 2021. We'll follow the agenda that was in the issue within the repo, which was issue number 494. Before we get started, does anybody have any announcements or anything that they'd like to share? Okay, if not, I'm just going to drop the link to the minutes. If people can add themselves to it, that would be great. So we don't forget you. I'm going to do that for me while we talk. No announcements. Okay, so the next one is, first issue on the list is promote security guidelines from draft. This is 492. And this addresses number 433, which is table of contents. All right, so there's some discussion back and forth. I think, Glenn, you had taken a look. I had commented that removing some of the references made sense. Let me just taking let's see if we can look at the view.
I thought this was quite a straightforward one.
Yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't approved it yet, but yeah, these were a couple of the ones that we identified that could probably just lift and shift. And so to figure out if that would be the case or not, the best way was just to make the PR and hope for the best. And so there's a couple right there.
Right, I think those links, unfortunately, like the Node ecosystem security working group, we need to remove the references to. And even that report of vulnerability to NPM, I suspect, does that still exist? That link does still exist. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that one's good. Right, so that template may still be fine, right? So that's fine, okay. Okay, so I just, yeah, from looking at that, I'm just gonna see the, it's okay. So I will, actually, why don't I do it while we speak so I don't forget, or I'm gonna go back to this one. Unfortunately, can I do that? Maybe I can. I can't make suggestions on things that weren't changed, can I? Okay, I don't think I can. Unless people know that there's a way, like in the UI, you can only comment on what was changed. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, that's the case, unless the lines are just visible there.
Right, okay. So I will comment then on the issue to say we need to remove those. It's not necessarily that the working group is completely gone, but they definitely don't handle any security vulnerabilities. I was involved in helping to wind down that program and hand over the backlog to SNCC. So otherwise, I think you're right. Otherwise looks good.
Should we then reference SNCC? SNCC took over the database, didn't they?
They took over the database. They took all the reports. So there's, they didn't sort of take the database and publish themselves, but like everything, all the reports which we hadn't accepted and handled were redirected. Like we basically closed them saying, please report over here instead.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So then this means that in terms of public databases, it's just the GitHub NPM one, right? Still
yeah, SNCC may have their own as well.
Yeah, I don't know how public. I mean, you can access all the issues there, but as a list, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, it exists. Yeah, we're using it.
But I think from this perspective, if we just, I mean, we can always add things to this, right? So, but if we took out those references, then we're probably good in terms of getting this promoted, and then we can add it
Yep,
over
fair enough.
time. Okay, so we took a look. Quick. Team generally. Okay, anything more on that one before we move to the next one? If not, the next one is update deprecation guidelines support level doc link number 490. So that one has a number of approvals. It was updating a link to the right place. I guess I'm just looking. We probably need, what does our governance say in,
Or,
in
yeah.
terms of 4? So we need
Let-
another approval.
I'm going through it. I'm going through.
Okay.
Getting up to speed, as I said, I've been mostly
Yep.
quiet, but there appears to be very little in here, and I think this looks good.
Yeah, it's just updating a link, so it should be.
Yeah.
And I think one was updating one and one was removed because it's broken. So if there's an alternative to it, we could plug that in. Otherwise, they just opted to remove the one that didn't work anymore.
View file, okay. Okay, so I don't know, again, I was just giving you some time to take a look, Glenn. I don't know if it's, or you want to wait till later.
I did just do, I just did the review. Should have 4 on there now. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. So Glenn approved. We'll just wait. Just needs waiting time. Okay, so we can move to the next one, which is promote published guidelines MD from draft. This is number 49. I just took a look. That one seemed reasonable to me, and I see, Owen, you've approved as well. So if we could get a couple more approvals.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've added an approval. It's very straightforward.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I see we've got 4 approvals. Okay, added. We reviewed. Added approvals. Needs waiting time now. Okay, so we can move on to the next one, which is the status update and next steps. PKGGS create. I don't think there's any updates, or go ahead.
Yeah, this seemed to, I mean, I know July seems only like the other day. It's stalled a little bit. Progress. Let me read up and try and catch up on that. It doesn't appear to be any updates on that. Yeah. John Church is the last one to look. And there are a couple of PRs open.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on, but yeah, if you could chime in, that one. I think we've at least got all the access we need, just somebody with some cycles to actually move it forward. Okay, the next one is suggested list of modules to help get support info for. Into that one, I don't think there's any update. I don't have any update. Just sort of on the list as a reminder, but haven't come up with any new ideas. So unless anybody else has anything, we'll move on to the next one. The next one is draft documentation promotion 373, which I think, Owen, you opened, and is a result of the number of the ones we had on the list here.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, so there's just there'll be a couple left. So I'll publish, or I'll merge the, not the security guidelines. So the deprecation guidelines and the publish guidelines, which should leave. After I merge those two, then it's just continuous. And there's just one more left after.
Okay,
today.
good.
So that's great. Be able to check off a couple boxes in a minute.
I'm gonna say yay. Okay, so that's good.
All I want for Christmas is the documentation written.
Right. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the list. I do think it's worth noting there was some discussion of Wibby the other day, right? Dominicus, I think you were involved in that.
You mean just in general public, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the context. Maybe it was maybe a private context? I don't know.
I did have some chats on Twitter generally.
Maybe it was Twitter. Yeah. Okay. Somebody was asking about testing and SIGIM. Yeah. That was it. And
yeah.
So, you know, you filled them in on Wibby as a way to go. It sounded like it was like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. There's, I spent some time on the PKGJS action, so I wasn't looking at Wibby for the last few months. So yeah, I'll be getting back to that. I think now that we have the shareable workflows, it will simplify the installation a little bit and maintenance. And then I think what needs to be done there is, this is the second time that I had somebody ask for a better explanation. So we do have an issue, I think, Glenn, if you still have time, if you're up for it.
I'm going to get back. I have more time now, as in the precursor. Yeah, I'd be delighted to help out. The explanation is actually, when I wrote that, it took me a while. I had to read the code to understand it. Yeah, and we all know what that means.
It needs some charts. It needs some charts. It needs some diagrams. It needs some.
Let me reach out to you, because I have some time off for Christmas, and I find documentation quite relaxing until it's challenged.
You want to do the documentation for PKGJS action? Well,
let's not get in front of ourselves. I think one Christmas present a year is enough.
That's right. Yes. If you're going to give me that,
there was no Christmas last year, though. So
no, we got on a roll. Let me get back into that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. If you still want to look at that, then yeah, let's happy to have a chat, happy to have a call. And then there was something. Yeah, I normally link people to the video that we did last year. I think things have changed a little bit since then, so maybe it's worth re-reviewing where we're at right now. I know that Fastify is that team is very much interested in using something, although, like I said, I haven't looked at it in the past month or so. So yeah, I'll need to get back to that, and hopefully we can get it over the line. To get installation and setup is still tricky, and it still requires forks, and then it requires some tokens to be set up. So that bit is not even necessarily documented properly, and that there's something like, so it would be nice to get some teams using it, and then we can get some feedback and iterate on it better. I think from the functionality perspective, I think I was mostly, it was close to close to being usable, but yeah, there may be some missing pieces, and it's the documentation and explanation and the nice diagrams that would be the most useful at this point.
Okay, I'll pick up with you in the repo.
That sounds good. Anything else we should talk about before we close out?
I do have an open PR in PKG.js action if anyone has time to take a look. Not a problem, not a blocker, but yeah, just something to move forward.
Okay. And maybe everybody could just stick around for a minute after I stop the stream, because I did think of something. Anyway, thanks for everybody who watched today, and we will see you in GitHub.